sa ating lahat.
Magandang gabi din, Father.
Most of the time, we think that we encounter the Lord only in extraordinary events of our lives or in sacred places or through the celebration of sacraments or participation in any religious activities. We seldom think that the Lord can also speak to us through the ordinariness of life or ordinary events in our life. In our today's gospel, the Pharisee encountered the Lord in a very ordinary way. The Pharisee was not in the temple and was not praying. He encountered Jesus during a meal. The encounter happened not in a religious setting, but that did not keep Jesus from talking with the Pharisee. In that conversation, Jesus reminded or admonished the Pharisee not to be conscious about external cleanliness because they count nothing before God. Rather, to be conscious about internal cleanliness, the cleanliness of heart and mind, and learning to love even the poor. So, in an ordinary circumstance, the Pharisee encountered the Lord. Likewise, we encounter the Lord in ordinary events of our life. Of course, it is expected that we become more attuned to the voice of God when we pray, when we celebrate the sacraments, or when we do spiritual reading. For instance, Saint Teresa of Jesus was drawn closer to God while she was reading about the life of great Saint Jerome. Then and there, she made up her mind to become the bride of Christ. And so she entered the Carmelite convent in the year 1536. Of course, that's through spiritual reading. But then, let us always remember that God communicates with us, as I've said, through ordinary events. We might get inspired while listening to music. I am pretty sure you must have experienced this. We might be drawn to the presence of God through a picturesque view. I, for one, like to go to other places. What I like most is I always see the presence and the genius of God whenever I see beautiful places and natural landscapes. I always wonder at how God could artistically arrange nature and make it so beautiful, so ordinary. Moreover, God might also inspire us through a friend's word. No? When we have conversation with a friend, or simply we might be inspired. God might be talking with us. We might be inspired by a movie we have watched. Naranasan ko na rin po, makakuha ka ng insight from a movie. Or maybe a new inspiration or realization would pop into our mind out of nowhere and gives us a sense of peace we did not have before. So that's God. That's God talking with us. That's God communicating with us. God can also communicate to us through seemingly negative experiences. We might have a disagreement with someone, a family member, and when we stay calm, composed, and peaceful, it means God is there, reminding us and inspiring us to be peaceful. This is because anything good that we do or anything good that happens to us, my dear friends, is always the work of God. Anything good that we do, anything good that happens to us is the work of God. Jesus in the Gospel of John says, "Apart from me, you can do nothing." Very straightforward. So, it means we are incapable of doing something good when we are, or where we are spiritually and morally paralyzed when we are away from God. And the opposite is true. Everything good that we can do and that happens to us is because God communicates with us. St. Paul says, "Nothing good dwells in me, that is in my flesh." Nothing good that dwells in me, that is in my flesh. Because for him, if there is good in him, it must be from God. No matter how God chooses to speak to us, my dear brothers and sisters, sa anumang paraan, nais ng Diyos makipag-usap, makisalamuha sa atin. We can be sure that it is God talking with us when we feel drawn to His presence. When we are inspired to do something good, we are sure it's God talking with us. When we sense that somehow we grow in our spiritual life. But wait, we must have forgotten something. We must ask, how did the Pharisee encounter the Lord? Through a meal. It's because, first and foremost, he invited Jesus. Diba? He invited the Lord to dine with him. And that's the only effort we have to do in our life. There is always, every day that God gives us a gift to us, let us always remember to invite Him into our hearts. And surely the Lord will not delay to communicate, to inspire, and to guide us, because He is a God of love.